Welcome to the JA Guam podcast. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the host and guests, and not necessarily to Junior Achievement Guam or its affiliates.
Welcome. We got Pinki and Joey here. Joey's our chairman of the board, and he's also been a past advisor for many years, extremely successful at every company he's mentored through. And we have Pinki, who's also been an advisor in the past, but she is now our executive director, so she's stepping into a big role. So for the first week, we thought we'd just really talk about starting the company. I'm going to have Joey wear two hats, one as advisor alumni, and the other one as an expert interview. He works with a lot of businesses, so as far as setup and everything, he's got that down. And Pinki, she'll be kind of, constantly sending you emails, answering questions, pointing to the right person, whoever needs to be helped, and whatever else she can give you. But if she can't answer the question, she will have somebody answer the question for her. Not a problem. So first of all, let's start with Pinki. My question is, what's expected of this first week? What really needs to get done in that first week?
Thank you, Meg. So the first week is really kind of the icebreaker, where the students and the advisors get to know each other and just kind of talk about what the expectation is. And so what's really exciting is all the students who applied had to fill out a job application. So already we're immersing the students into the experience of having to apply for a job. And so all of this is about work readiness, right? And so the first week is all about getting to know the students, getting to know your co-workers, so to speak. And then we expect the advisors and the teachers to kind of review the meeting rules and the schedule, and highlighting and emphasizing some of the important deadlines. What's really cool is you're all going to be able to produce a commercial, the company, and we're going to talk about all the important components of creating a company, right? And so we're also going to talk about an outline of the different the leadership roles, and also talk about what a company, what would be your dream company, and think about how you're going to do market surveys, and so it's just kind of getting to know each other. That way you all can align what your vision and what your goals may be for your future company that you're all going to create together.
So Pinki, where are the resources? Where's the best place for the advisors and students to go for resources?
So there's a mentors tab or a advisors tab, as well as a student tab on the ja-guam.org website. So all the resources are available online. And then we're also going to be using our JA Guam channel on YouTube, which we will be uploading every week, a podcast just like this, giving the kids and the mentors some information on how to best prepare for the following week.
Anything else that they should be doing in the first week?
The first week is has a lot to do with getting to know your team, because imagine you're going to create a company, right? And so you really got to get to know each other. That way you'll know what each other's strengths are. And Meg is very, you're really good, Meg, at talking about the different roles that the officers in particular. So by week 2, be prepared to actually have elections. You're going to elect officers like a president, VP of marketing, VP of finance, and VP of production. And so part of that is getting to know your team and what their strong points are, who wants that role and responsibility, and who would prefer to be the back end person. So we are recommending, although you're going to consider who your officers are going to be, you also want to see who that support will be under each particular division. So for example, the marketing VP should have his own or her own team under her, and then a lead So we are recommending that each VP have a lead, like a team lead under their perspective. So that's why the first week is so important, just to acclimate and get to know each other. That way you'll be like, Meg's a really good speaker, so we're going to use her in the communications department, or maybe she'll be great at the, when we have to present our company, or maybe Meg, just using Meg as an example, should be our PR person under the marketing department. So the cool thing is, while you're creating your own company, there's nothing keeping you from having more officers, or like subdividing the responsibilities. The unique part about JA and this group in particular for this school year is we are marketing heavy. We have a lot of marketing experts, and we're really excited because we have like KUAM on board this year. And then if you look at our board of directors for JA Guam, we have some hard hitters. We have some really proficient marketing VPs and stuff. So on the marketing end, it's going to be really exciting to see how everyone markets their products this year. And because this year we're going virtual for the first time, we have more tools available to the kids. And so again, it's just going to be really exciting to see what happens this year.
One of the things I'd like to see myself do is possibly, when it comes into sales and marketing, is get a bunch of the sales and marketing people, like a Chris DeGaza, Chris,
Yeah.
Our Chris.
Lujan.
Lujan. I'm thinking Roberto. Okay, but Chris, Lujan. But anyways, get some of those people and talk marketing with 2 or 3 of them. So maybe do some groups. So that would be like in excess of just the weekly check-in with you and Joey, or you and somebody else. But the main thing, that will be like the weekly. But then as a supplement, maybe have an interview with just marketing people, or maybe people who do a lot of production kind of stuff, or an HR managers, maybe 2 or 3 HR managers. So I'm going to try to do the thing, because some companies have that capability of bringing in experts and other people don't. So we'll try to provide that also.
Very cool. Yes,
Okay.
It's going to be exciting. When you look at these weekly podcasts, you're not just going to see these 3 people, me, Meg, and Joey. The fun thing is, you're going to actually see, we're going to tap into some of our JA alumni that have been very successful over the years. We're going to do interviews with them. In particular, like when the finance department needs to work out their budget, which is a very important component when you create your company, right? You need to set your budget. We'll have finance professionals either within our organization, or again, we have so many sponsors, and we have access to a lot of professionals that are proficient in their particular arena of expertise.
That's the wonderful thing about virtual. So this might be a really cool thing that we're doing. But Joey, I'm going to move over to you a little bit. So again, you've been in this game, multiple times, and have been extremely successful. I think every year you were an advisor, you took the team to Competition of the Year for Asia Pacific in one way or the other. So, I know hands down, you know how to get it done. So why don't you give a little bit of your background as far as being a mentor, and what it's like, and what kind of time, dedication, all that kind of stuff that you need to do.
Thank you, Meg. Great job, Pinki. Well, it started in 2009, where we were actually voluntold. We run a JA program. The first question was, you guys know what JA was or is? And we were like, Google it. To the point where we ran our first meeting. Read the kids really well, and ended up finishing the first year in 3rd place. So that was a great experience for us. We had at least one advisor who had some sort of JA experience as a student, and so he pretty much helped us a lot along the way. And it also helped that we had roles provided to each person who was a advisor. We had 4 advisors that year, so it made everything so much easier for us. The following year, after learning the ropes from my mentors, I was asked if I was interested in putting together the team, which we did. And so got in a good slate of mentors in the program, another 4 persons to assist in the group. And that year, we actually did really well. Although the product wasn't as innovative, the design just took Island by storm.
Talking about swag?
That's right, swag. I mean, with all the controversies that surrounded that organization, students made so much money from it. From a 12-week program, 4 weeks of which was the selling point, one of the students made over $400 from commissions and
music.
Correct. From there on, I mean, you'll be surprised how much you can learn from these students. Very innovative. They know so much about the virtual world. So, years passed, we took them on to the competitions. They did really well. I mean, I was pretty much known for staging probably presentations that nobody wanted to go after. We opened up a couple of the JAAP events. And the MC was like, does anybody else want to go after these guys are done?
Yeah, because you guys had song and dance and everything. I mean, you had the full-on, mini, I want to say the old MTV mini, you guys had it, little singing, dancing, opening up jacket with words inside it, some really cool stuff. But I mean, it really attention, and that's really full-on marketing, which is great. But let me go back a little bit and say, so when you started, you guys knew nothing about JA, as an advisor.
Right.
And I'm going to assume a lot of the kids you came in had some JA experience.
Not this group. The first group that we had, they were gung-ho about starting. Helped that one of them was the child of one of our advisors. So we pretty much led the way, and they just charged all the way through.
I was going to say, so what was your biggest challenge as a beginning advisor?
Resources. The book was there for you to use, and you just needed to follow that. Experience, you'll learn as you move on. The tools that you needed, you had to create a lot of those. And then just work with the students. I mean, I've learned how to use so much different types of apps working with these students. They've helped me build my currentness because of how
all those behind
I saw, the drive that, I was taking these students to year in, year out finishes in the top, and it was just time that I did something for myself. So that's where we're at the moment. But dealing with these kids, you'll be really surprised at how innovative they can be, how well they meet these challenges, even with them having so many organizations under their belt. I kid you not, they will make sure that they get the job done, especially if you work with them and give your time to them. They will give their time back.
Okay, what were your 3 top challenges, hiccups, surprises along the way, that either almost threw you under or, and I'm talking about, one of the things I hear a lot is infighting or, cliques, groups, just, people losing information, people dropping out. So there's a lot of those things that can happen, like as any business, right? So what were your top 3, would you say, over the years? What were the things that surprised you, whether it was your first year or your third year?
Oh, this is just like a business, everything and anything that can happen will happen. Students, parents not wanting them to stay too late and having them drop out, even officers, to, cliques, lose an election, okay, we don't want to join anymore. That's something that almost always happens, and you'll be surprised. At least now with the virtual part, we eliminate the driving, but we also eliminate some students who have no access to the virtual realm. So, there's plus and minuses for the program, and with that concern as we go on. The other concerns, time management is one of the biggest things, because these students, as I said, a lot of them, especially the ones that run for officers or as officers, they're in many other organizations. At least right now, sports programs are on hold, and a lot, I guess, of the other social activity or programs also on hold with the school system. So I think this is a very good opportunity for a lot of the students. They'll be able to put more of their energy in there and drive this organization. I'm looking forward to what we can come up with this whole pandemic situation that we're in. What kind of products that we can come up with that would help our current situation. You know, thinking outside the box. Does it have to be a virtual product? Could it be something that you can still use and work together with, as far as developing a product that would help people while they're at home? Could it be a product per se? Could it be even a simple board game or a game that you can develop that would make it up there as something that somebody would be willing to purchase? You know, things like that. How do you work with the current boredom that some people are experiencing, or the current crisis that they're experiencing? Can you develop something in that would help families, that would help individuals cope with the current landscape that we're experiencing? So, I mean, those are the things that we can start off on as far as brainstorming. I know these kids, I mean, you're stuck at home, your mind, your imagination can work wonders. And we can make things work. So there's so much possibilities. It's endless for everyone, you know, creating all these products.
Well, maybe what we can do is, Pinki, you and I can go back to the office and just do our wall of products and kind of walk people through some of the products that are up on the wall, whether we take a picture of it and then talk through it or whatever. But yeah, these kids come up with some great ideas. And I think that's one of it. And, you know, even though you can't all get together and work on a product, you could decide on a product. Somebody can, you know, find the materials. 2 or 3 people can get together to find the materials, distance and whatever, but they can kind of get materials. Like, for instance, I know, like, one of the past was glass jewelry, you know, a lot of beach glass, and they created stuff. So if everybody has a pile of glass and they're at home, whether you're sitting around in a circle with 5 people or you're at home making certain things, that's fine. Whether it's cards, drawings, we've had coloring books, we've had activity books, we've had, you know, bamboo stuff that you have to cut. We've had, you know, other things that have been cut with wood with wording on it. We've had, you know, we had the bow ties for the animals that you could have, you know, for your dog, and the adult, you know, could wear, you know, matching ties with your dogs. And that was really, you know, also they really kind of focused on helping gain, you know, in the end. So all those kind of things are great ideas, and we might want to do an extra podcast, maybe, you know, beforehand, of different ideas that have been done in the past.
A great idea.
Yeah, but Joey, anything else regarding, because I know everybody kind of really jumps into officers, and one of the things you mentioned with officers, you know, a lot of times people want to be an officer, they're not an officer, you know, sometimes they don't want to be part of it because they understand officers are going to get into a certain level or whatever. What other suggestions do you have for that, or what suggestions do you have for either vetting out officers, or to make it so it's not so much I don't want to call it this, but it's popularity contest. You know, a lot of times, I mean, isn't that how voting sometimes goes, but you know, it's just that, you know, I know an officer, it's a lot of responsibility. It's long-term, much more hours than everybody else, a lot of responsibility. You got to be able to want to speak in front of the crowd because you've got the presentations at the end, you know, etc. So any other suggestions or anything around officers?
First and foremost, time and managing your time. You're going to have to clear your schedule at times just to be able to focus on how to effectively run your department or your organization if you're the president. My students, we actually had a lot of fun the last 2 weeks of Christmas. Although they worked with me 40 hours a week, I kid you not, 40 hours a week. We're working on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and if any of my former officers are listening to this, they'll attest to it. We've even had times where we were communicating through an app because some of our students were off island. They'll be practicing virtually. They'll come back and then be here for the the actual presentation. So time is of the essence. Everything else is there. You'll be guided through the manual. The willingness to work with people, and just like any other job, right? You're required to be able to put everyone in their place and ensure that your company runs successfully. This whole program is about the experience, not just the product. How much you'll learn and take away from your experience with JA, not just JA Guam, but JA worldwide. So it's not always the best product that will win. That's one thing that we need to stress. It's how you present what you've learned. Does help with the product. The most part is, what are you taking away from this program with you into next step of your life?
That's a good point, Joey. And if I can add to that, it's so glamorous to be the president or the VP of operations, right? But it's also recognizing that that title comes with a responsibility. So it's just like in the real world, all these big bosses, they're the ones that are getting in trouble, right? Whenever something goes wrong. So it's really understanding that role, that it's not a glamorous title, but there's a lot to that title, and it's a lot of hours. And to explain why Joey is saying that the last 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's Eve, that's a deadline you all need to understand. December 31st is when your annual report is due. So in warning you about that, if you really want to savor and enjoy your holidays, then you need to be proactive and start working. And you know, that's why these podcasts are going to be so crucial to the success of your company, because it's giving you advice, it's warning you of deadlines coming up, and preparing you properly so that you can succeed.
Okay, so I'm just going to pop in and say, yeah, because both of you said that, you know, some of the same things like year end. So that's just it, is that after the kids, you know, sell stock to create the capital, then they elect their officers, then they decide on a product and they start producing. I don't know how we're going to do any kind of a mid trade fairs, and that's kind of one of the things we do. You normally do 2 trade fairs. We're not sure exactly how we're going to do that this year. We're thinking about doing some kind of an online store, or maybe we have some kind of trade fair where each, you know, I mean, besides interviewing, so maybe I would interview each company like I would normally at a trade fair and give some feedback and those kind of things. And that's really what the first couple trade fairs are to do, is to kind of get kids prepped for the final presentation.
Right.
But as
you can also work alongside that virtual trade fair.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
That's something that we're also looking into. If we can't physically be at a location, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, you know, there's many different methods of selling products nowadays. So we're not restricted, we're not limited, and that's what the kids are doing.
And so maybe we make that as one of the things they have to do, is they have to show up on Facebook Live or Instagram Live and do their pitch. That's how they'll be judged. So that could be something. The other thing is kind of like we're saying, I'm going to go to the end. It's kind of like Franklin Covey always, you know, keep the end in mind. So it's one of the things, go through the book, you know, look at the liquidation report. You have to liquidate your company and do a final, you have to do an annual report. And that's what trips up a lot of people. They realize they don't have this information available. They didn't think about writing this, you know, they don't have photos or something put together. So it's like, go to the back of the book and look what's expected at the end of the program. You know, there's going to be a commercial you need to put together. You're going to have to put together, you know, of course, return on investment to your stockholders, but there's just know what the manual gives. You don't have to be an expert on the whole program right away, but especially like for officers, say, these are the things that you have to do, because this is something that's going to have to be provided in the annual report. So that's why you want to hold on to that. You want to always have a backup of everything. Create a Dropbox or a Google Drive or something that all of it can go into, but know what's going to be expected at the end. So as you're working up to the end, you have it. And then, like you said, maybe you don't have to have 40 hours over the holiday weekend. You can be a little bit more, you know, I mean, it's kind of like pre-work it or pre-plan a little bit, so you have that. And things like the commercial and that kind of stuff, you know, have a commercial team, you know, so it isn't just the officers in the commercials. You know, I think the biggest thing is making sure that the company, everybody gets involved. So even though I'm the vice president of marketing, I might have to have certain salespeople, and each salesperson might have to do a certain training for the team or the role playing or something. But the more everybody's involved, the more they learn, and you learn by doing, and you learn by teaching others. So if you kind of keep that out, and I'm going to say one of the things, hands down, that Joey did as an advisor is these kids knew everything, and they knew everything about what the other person was doing. So you know how somebody gets nervous, like when they're doing the presentation at the end of the year at, again, your shopping center, right? In the past, you know, somebody will freeze up. And it's great when somebody else can jump right in and knows their lines or knows what they're supposed to be talking about, and they can answer the question. Or all of a sudden I can't show up to the trade fair, and one of those other officers can jump right in. Officer quits and leaves because of whatever reason, you got somebody else that can jump right in. So I'm going to say that was the main thing that Joey, that I think you did one of the best jobs with it. Everybody knew exactly, everyone knew what a break-even point was. Everybody knew, where they were in their numbers. Everybody knew, just what their roles or whatever. I mean, just knowing it. I mean, it's great doing it, but they have to know, they have to really know that at the back of their hands. So when they're asked by judges, how about this? They're not going, and they're looking around. Everybody should be right on top of it. So
that's where the mentor's role is very crucial. In fortifying the learnings, ensuring that your students are ready to face the judges so that they don't panic. And when they do panic, there's always going to know that they have their teammates have their back. And you're right, Meg. It's been a great ride for me with JA, and that's the reason why I'm still here today. Not just the learning experience is tremendous. And working with these students, just can't get enough from that. So it's a valuable gift that I receive from them.
Yeah, it's after 27 years, guys, you know why I'm still here. It is the kids are just amazing. Their enthusiasm, their innovation, their creativity, their just their drive. It's almost like getting the cream of the crop, and and as we get more and more schools and more students involved, we just get more. It's that much more inspiring. So I always love to use the line, let the success of others be your inspiration. And these kids definitely will give you a ton of inspiration. And it's amazing how you'll be able to take some of the stuff you're doing in JA and apply it to your own company, your own job, your own whatever, or maybe to your own direct reports and advisor, how you'll be able to say, oh, you know what? I really learned this out of here and do that. And I think, it's a learning experience on both sides. That's a cool thing about when you're coaching or mentoring, it's good when you're learning along with whoever it is that you're coaching and mentoring, like in business.
Correct.
So anything else, or we could show this up? I think we're almost at a half hour or more. Again, go to ja-guam.org, go under resources, students, there's the book, so you can review the entire book if you want to. Advisors, same thing. And there's also a slide deck, a 47-page slide deck, which breaks down each area, talks a little about leadership, etc. It's what we used to use for advisor training, but it's really long. It's a lot of information. So what I would suggest is that you review the slide deck, and then you can just kind of week by week kind of pull it out. But it's nice to know that overall flow of the program. Okay. Otherwise, I think we're good.
Thank you so
Adios.
much.
See you next week.